We retired at 42 with 4 kids under 8.
And no, we didn't sell a company, we didn't win the lottery or inherit anything.
We just followed a simple plan for 20 years, and today we're sharing the full story, the good, the bad, and the surprises that we didn't expect along the way.
We're Amber and Jared, and we started dreaming about financial independence long before we even knew the word FIRE.
At first, it wasn't about retiring early. It was about not feeling stressed out about an everyday paycheck. Especially once we knew the kids were coming, I think things really started changing for us.
Our turning point came when we realized one thing. Our life was running us instead of us running our life.
So I was working full-time. Amber was working full-time as well for about 10 years. 7 of those as a teacher?
Yeah.
And then you were juggling everything around the house and taking care of the kids. And we thought there has to be a better way. And that's when we found the FIRE movement. And the crazy part is that it wasn't complicated. It was simple math and simple habits. Here's the plan that we followed. Number 1, we learned our FIRE number. That's a big part. So we figured out how much we actually needed to retire, not someday, but early for us. And that number for us was about 1.6 million.
Step number 2, we lowered our spending on purpose. Not in a deprivation way, but in a values first kind of way. We cut the stuff we didn't care about so we could spend more on the things that we did.
Step number 3, we invested aggressively but simply. So we used index funds, automated investing, and we kept the emotion out of it, or at least we tried to as best we could.
More me.
We didn't gamble, we didn't try to time the market, and we didn't do any panic selling.
Step number 4, we increased income where it counted. When we realized we could speed things up by earning more, we did it. Jared got very strategic about promotions, and we started small income streams on the side. We look forward definitely to sharing those in the future, but one is, we'll just give you a hint, it's something that he's loved his entire life since he was a little boy. And we have pictures of it. Every Christmas, he got one.
We look forward to sharing that story with you guys soon. So subscribe to get that video. Number 5, we stayed consistent even when life got messy, which it certainly did, and I'm sure it will for you guys too. So kids, moves, job stress, school expenses like homeschool expenses, cars breaking and having all kinds of maintenance, health issues are a big one. And life didn't make it easy for us. It never does. But consistency for us made it possible.
Okay, the big moment that everybody waits for, hitting your FIRE number. I'll never forget the night we ran the numbers and realized we were actually there. We were done. I know you've shared it with me several times. It doesn't seem real that you've really made it possible for us to reach that. Prior to having kids, you really focused on that. And I mean, we did it together, but you were the driving force of it.
Thank you.
But like seeing that is our net worth, that's a pretty amazing accomplishment that not many people can do or will do.
Yeah, I know. And they don't even think it's possible. That's the sad part. And to Amber's point, like it felt unreal. Actually, it still feels unreal, especially when we talk to friends and family and things. It just seems so far away for a lot of people. But it's like there's 20 years of small choices that suddenly added up into this massive change. And the weird thing about it too is that thinking back on it now, it's like we made these small changes and they became more habits and just the way that we lived. And I remember getting to certain points of higher net worth, and sometimes people would say, like, hey, Jared, why are you being so cheap on your cell phone and not upgrading that? Or why are you not upgrading your watch? You're one of the wealthiest people that we know.
Or why are you not going out to eat all the time?
Yeah. And it just became, I didn't even realize that those things were true. And I had just had these habits that I had built for a long time. And it's, I think that's something that travels with you, whether you're a millionaire, billionaire, you just kind of keep those habits and it just becomes a part of your life. I've heard that from a lot of like super wealthy, famous people too, that they keep that. Like I'm guessing Warren Buffett probably would say the same thing.
He lives in his same house, right?
Yeah, so it kind of becomes comfortable and normal. So that's just something to think about.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does early retirement really look like for us in reality? We didn't retire from something, we retired to do something. More time with our kids, more travel, and more adventure.
We've taken a 7,000-mile road trip, spent more slow mornings together than ever, and found a rhythm we didn't even know we were missing. And Jared also gets to be part of like our homeschool routine, and he'll come to co-op with us, and he is definitely the dad that the
Like
kids look forward to.
And the
coming.
only guy
He's
that's
the
there,
only dad
only
that
father.
comes. But the kids really enjoy it, and they gravitate to you differently than they do any of the moms that come.
It's pretty eye-opening for me as a guy to be able to look into that world and be a part of it, and then to be a part of our kids and then other kids, their day-to-day life. And it's sad for me to be the only guy and the only father, and to know that all the other fathers are missing out on that. So that's been a huge win for me to be able to be a part of that. And a lot of people ask this as well, like when you're in early retirement, do you work? And I would say
you just retire. No.
I would say yes, we do still work on things, but they're things that they're not jobs that we have to do, and it's not like under somebody else's timeline. But there are projects that we want to do, and there's things that we want to accomplish for our kids. There's business ideas. We want to make sure we can show our kids. We want to really try a lot of things so that our kids can see us trying those things, and they can be a part of it. So then in the future, they'll have a lot of options, and they can say, yeah, I remember when my parents did that or do that. I think we have sort of a different mentality about the things that we do.
Yeah. Now, you might be asking if there's would you do anything differently? I wish we'd started earlier with tracking our numbers, and then I think also for me, just really paying attention to them more and knowing what that ultimate final goal is versus just here and now. Sometimes I get caught up in the here and now, and I don't look beyond that. So I think I wished I would have done that. And then knowing that once you start paying attention, everything can change. And then just understanding that.
That's a good point. I think for me too, as a part of that, and I think I got better with this over time, but you almost have to paint a picture for your family what the future looks like. I think for Amber, I was able to get you on board more with the future vision of what our life could be if we were to do these things. But I think it is hard to get lost in the amount of money that you have. A lot of times, even now, it doesn't seem real.
No.
You can look on your accounts and you can see that you have that money, but unless you're going out and buying a Ferrari or buying a lot of stuff, you can't really see that. You can't really see the impact that has on your life. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this road trip and actually see that in action and see what that actually felt like. What had we accomplished, and had we met that goal of that different life? So anyway, I would say for me to do a better job of that and do that sooner. And then also just to trust the process more. We wasted years overthinking instead of just being consistent. And I think we also were financially, we did things that Dave Ramsey recommended. He makes a lot of great recommendations, but I think paying off low interest debt, I wish that we hadn't focused on that. For our home mortgage, for example, we were paying off a loan that was only costing us maybe 4% interest. Meanwhile, we could have had that money invested in index funds, in the stock market, and in other things that we would have made a much higher return on our money versus just paying off that low interest debt. So things like that, I do wish we could have gone more aggressive in the beginning in our savings and in our investing.
Yeah, and especially when we had those jobs, the stable jobs.
Yeah, when we had the income.
And we had dual income at that point too.
And we had lower cost of housing than we do right now. Because interest rates were lower back then as well. And the housing market wasn't so inflated.
So the number one secret to retiring early with kids, what is it? Here's the truth most people don't talk about. Kids don't make fire harder, they make it clearer.
Yeah, and that couldn't be more true. That made it crystal clear for me. And I think that's what I ultimately sold, how I sold Amber on this, was to spend that time with the kids, and how short and valuable that time is, and how, you've seen videos on social media, but once you lose that time, you'll never get that back, no matter what you do.
It's kind of making me tear.
So you have to take advantage of it. You have to use that wisely, cherish the time, because you will never get it back, and it's such a short period of your life that you get to experience your kids when they're young. So that's definitely been a big motivation for us, and that pushed us to get serious, to get organized, and to build a life that we actually wanted our kids to grow up in. So if you're trying to retire early, or you just want more freedom, we're sharing everything that we have with you, total transparency, in our future videos and in the past videos, to get you there.
So make sure you subscribe and drop a comment. What part of our fire journey do you want us to dive deeper into?
Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.
See you later.